Hello, hello, everybody. First things first, how is everyone doing? It's been a while. You've seen a couple of replays over the past couple of weeks, and today we are back to the live webinar. So, welcome everybody, whoever is here with me live today. I thank you for your time. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm going to open this on the side so I can see who is here with me. So just give me a second. Let me open the chat separately. There we are. So just to remind you, I would really love it if you are interacting, if you have any comments, if I ask you any question, I would love if you can answer it. Today, we're going to be talking about something very, very important. It's been a journey for me learning this process, and I am still learning it step by step. But this is something that I felt that is very important for me to share with you as you go on your journey. If you are starting your own self-development or self-discovery journey, it's very important that you know how actually things happen for you in your life and how our thoughts create our emotions and our emotions create our feelings and our feelings create our experiences, and then those experiences, they create our thoughts again, and then we start living almost the same life over and over again because we are starting from the same place. So this is the topic of today. I'm going to be talking about how, when we become more aware of our thoughts and we start thinking intentionally, how we can change things and shift things for ourselves in our life, and how visualization and meditation helps us in that process in order to create these plans for us in our mind and visualize them as if they have already happened, and let them be, so that when they happen, we have already created them. We know that we have created them. So this is today's topic. Now, we're going to be together for almost an hour. I want you to stick to the end because at the very end, I have a nice invitation for you. And I would love it if you can stay till the end. Remember, if you have any comments, or I think their Q&A is open, you can ask me the questions. If I don't answer them straight away, I'll make sure that I'll try to answer them at the end. Or if I cannot answer them now, I will answer them on the group, or I will answer them in a different or a new webinar, because sometimes we ask questions that need a lot of time to be answered. So I take a different webinar and I'll answer them there. So again, welcome everybody. I just had my evening walk and it's been very refreshing. So I'm here with you, fresh start, as if it's the morning, although it's night for me here. So before I start, I want to share with you a little bit about how my journey went with this very specific exercise. So I remember when I was a kid, and I'm pretty much sure that every single woman out there had this dream when she was a girl, when she was a young girl, that she wanted to have her Prince Charming come to her on his white horse and, be full of love and full of respect and full of, those beautiful romantic dreams that I'm pretty much sure every single woman out there had them as a child and wanted that dream to be a reality in her life. Now, what happens is as we go through life, and we face the harsh realities of life, and we start through the process of becoming conditioned with everything that happens in our journey, we tend to forget all those dreams, and we tend to forget how creative we used to be when we were kids. We would even build the castle. We would even have the exact shape and look and feel for that beautiful Prince Charming coming on his white horse. We would even have a name for a horse, and and we would imagine that we have this kingdom, and then we are like the princess of that kingdom. So our mind at that time did not have the restrictions that we start creating for ourselves as we go through life. And these restrictions, unfortunately, it's true that they are from the environment, but the thing is that when we live our life, we most of the time we are guided by what the environment is imposing on us. And only when we start our self-discovery and self-development journey do we actually remember and realize that we have the biggest say in our life. We have the biggest uh, um, um, choice, and we have the biggest authority. That's the right word. We have the biggest authority in our life. The only problem is, as we become older, what we are not aware of is that this authority, we have somehow given it away to things that are external to us, and things that have become programs within our self that are now leading the way for us without our own consciousness, without our own say, kind of like you give up your right to something. This is what we do. And the reason we do this, we don't do it consciously. Nobody would consciously give away their authority or give away their power. No one would do that. We do it subconsciously because over the period of the years that we go through in life, there's a pattern that we go through. So what happens is our pattern starts with us creating our thoughts. And those thoughts, they are basically mental processes through which we interpret everything around us. That's how we interpret the world. So these are our thoughts. Now, it's said that we think between 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. Can you imagine how many thoughts come to our mind? And these thoughts and the way we interpret the world, they create what are our emotions. And our emotions are basically physiological and psychological reactions to the thoughts that we are creating. They are like stimuli, right? So, and these are caused by either external factors or our thoughts. So as an example, for emotion, for example, anger is an emotion. Now, anger is a response to maybe a threat or frustration or some injustice that is happening around us. So this emotion is the reaction to these perceptions. So the perception of maybe injustice or frustration or threat, something that is threatening us. So we have, as a reaction to that, we have the emotion of anger. Now, the emotions, the more we feel them and the more they become ingrained in us, they start to become feelings. And these feelings are not the same as the emotion. So the feeling is somehow, it's an extended period of us going through the same emotion over a very long period of time. So if we are angry for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then years and years, we become owners of a feeling which is called resentment in this very specific example. So when we're talking about anger as an emotion, the feeling that is the result of this repetitive pattern of emotion, which is anger, becomes a resentment, and we start feeling resentful to everything around us. And those feelings, the more they happen, the more they materialize, or they become part of us. They become like a subconscious program in our subconscious mind. So they start kind of running on their own. And this is why, for example, if we meet someone, and I do take a lot of this learning from Joe Dispenza. Dr. Joe Dispenza is a very famous neuroplasticist. He works with neuroplasticity and the mind, and he has his ways of teaching people really how to get out of their conscious and go into their subconscious mind and start creating their life from that field, from the field of unpredictability, from the field of the unknown, which is always very difficult for us to go into because we are afraid of the unknown. We don't know what is lying in there. So we prefer to stay in our comfort zone, the place that we know, the place that we are comfortable with, the place that we are aware of. So in these teachings, what Dr. Joe Dispenza says is, for example, if you ask someone today, or any person, ask yourself, like, why am I angry? If you feel anger today, or if you feel resentment, like, why do you feel resentment? And then you start thinking, yeah, why do I feel resentment? And then you would remember, yeah, I feel this way because 10 years ago, this thing happened to me with my father, let's say. And then that thing that happened to you created that anger at that point in time. But then you kept on repeating that scenario in your mind, and you kept on feeling that anger. And after a period of time, that anger became your feeling of resentment. And that feeling of resentment, the more you were repeating it subconsciously, remember, you're not doing this in a conscious way. So you're doing this subconsciously. The more you are repeating it, the more it becomes ingrained in your subconscious mind. And once it's ingrained in your subconscious mind, it becomes a program. And that program becomes a place that is somewhere in your mind that is also connected to that very specific experience. So what happens is, when you go through life and you face a very similar experience, what the brain will do, the brain will trigger memories about that experience from the current experience that you are having. And those memories will go and bring in that same emotion, bring in that same feeling, and you will start going through it again as if it is happening to you again right now. This is how your memories and your past experiences work. Now, the reason why I'm telling you all this is so that I can explain to you how the brain works, and how later on how our neural pathways can be changed. What is happening with us every single day is that when we wake up in the morning, okay, and you tell me if this is happening to you or not. Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you think of is the last thing that you have, that, for example, happened to you the night before. So we're always thinking in the past. We don't wake up in the morning and envision our future or predict what's going to happen next. So we are always living in our past experiences, in our past memories. This is what we think of every time we wake up from in the morning in bed, and we start thinking about the things that happened with us the day before, and we start reacting to the things that happened to us the day before, and the day before that, and the day before that. And then as the day goes, we go through new experiences that are going to be the food for our thoughts the next day, right? So we do not wake up in the morning and think, first of all, of nothing. This is an exercise that I started doing lately, not really too long ago, is to wake up in the morning and sit with myself and really do nothing for like 20 minutes. I started very short periods. So I started with 5 minutes, because it's not really that easy to sit and think of nothing. So you want to start with small, take them step by step. Maybe do 1 minute every morning for 2-3 mornings, then move to 2 minutes, then move to 3, then move to 5, then move to, as long as you can hold that state of not thinking of anything or thinking of nothing. There's really literally no thoughts coming to you. This is a practice that first of all, will help you start your day in a calm way, because you are not triggering your brain with thoughts the minute you open your eyes. So you are giving your brain that time to breathe in the morning, to relax before it starts getting into the beta brainwaves, where you have to be thinking too much and you know, always alert and always conscious of the things that are happening. You want to take decisions, you want to create some work, you want to make phone calls, you want to talk to people. So this is you being in a beta brainwave all the time. So before you get into the beta brainwave, you want to try to be in a state of total calm and total relaxation, really trying to think of nothing. Now, if you are really unable to think of nothing, make sure that you think of good things or positive things. Like if you wake up in the morning, think of the smell of the room. Think of the chirping of the birds outside. Think of the you know, if you are in winter, think of how warm you want to be. Or if you are in summer, think of how fresh you feel, you know. These are the thoughts that you want to think of the first thing when you wake up in the morning. Not what happened yesterday, how am I going to deal with this, and you know, and then you start reliving the same experiences, because remember, thoughts generate emotions, emotions generate feelings, and feelings generate our experiences. And then those experiences, because they are coming from these very specific thoughts and emotions and feelings, they're going to generate similar thoughts, and those similar thoughts are going to take us through the same process again. And this is how those neural pathways start being created in our mind. And if we are always creating them from the same place, while we are hoping to change our future or predict our future, we are predicting this future from the past. So it's not really prediction, it's creating the similar thing, right? Because you are repeating those same thoughts that are generating the same emotions and feelings and creating for you in your life the same experiences. And those same experiences will have reactions, and those reactions will become who you are. They will become your personality. So if we keep on living in our past, that's the moral of the story. If we keep on living in our past, we won't be able to create anything new for us in our life, because our creation is going to be a literal mirror of our past, because this is where we are living all the time. Now, what we want to do is we want to be present, we want to be aware. And the way we do that is, instead of waiting for things to happen for us in life, or for things to come through for us in life, and instead of waiting for life to happen, we want, you know, instead of being in that passive seat and just waiting and observing and not doing really anything and just waiting there for life to come, we want to be aware. That's the first step. So this is how we go into creating things intentionally, by becoming aware. And the minute we become aware, we start setting clear intentions, kind of like when I was a kid and I used to dream of that Prince Charming. I was intentionally dreaming of it. It wasn't like, oh, I don't know why I'm doing this. No, I really wanted it. It was intentional. So the minute you stop being passive and letting life happen to you or for you, however you want to think about it, you want to be taking control of things. And to take control of things, you want to be aware, and you want to set intentions. You want to do things with clear intentions. And when you set your clear intentions, you want to really be literally focused on those intentions. So you do not lose your focus from that intention just because something happens or something, takes place in your life, because you are, in that case, letting life happen to you. So what you want to do, again, you want to be aware, and you want to set clear intentions. And by the way, everything that I'm talking about today will help you. If you are able to do these things, they will help you to be able to manifest things in your life and to create things for yourself in your life. Now, I'm going to teach you as much as I can, but obviously, because the time limitation is that 1 hour is very short, there's so much I can teach, but I will try to give you as much information as I can to help you at least start this journey. Sometimes we find difficulties doing those things because of the limitations that we create for ourselves in our own mind. I will give you an example. Have you ever thought of something and you were fixated on it and you wanted it so badly and it was not happening, but then the minute you forget about it, it happens? I'll give you the simplest example. Let's say somebody asks you about a person and they ask you about their name, and then you don't remember their name, and you keep on thinking, oh my God, what's the name of that person? What's the name of that person? If you keep on doing this for 3 hours, 4 hours, you'll never remember the name. And tell me if you've been through that experience. I'd like to hear from you. But then the minute you stop thinking about it, that name will come to you and you will remember it instantly. This is exactly how manifestation works. If you always keep on fixating on manifestation, it will not happen. What you want to do is you want to think about it. You want to intentionally place your intention on what you desire and have that intention in your life, and then visualize it. I'll go through that a little bit later. You visualize, you meditate, and you do it. The visualization and the meditation you can repeat, because when you are repeating that, you are creating those new pathways. I'm going to talk about this. So the more you repeat it without fixating on it, this is very important. The fixation means that you are repeating, but then when you stop, you think, oh, but nothing is happening. Why isn't it happening? But I've been meditating. I've been doing all the exercises, but nothing is happening. Why nothing is happening? This is the fixation part. That's the part that you want to let go of. That's the part that you want to completely forget about, and be in a state when you are meditating and you are visualizing. In that state, you are already creating in your mind, you're creating in the quantum field, you're creating in a third dimension that does not really exist here in reality, but you are so able to see it, and you are so convinced that it's as if it's already happened to you. So when you get out of the meditation, you are not thinking, where is it? Why it's not happening? What's happening? Why is it taking time? So you get out of the meditation with the feeling that it's already there. And that feeling is what will make it happen even faster. And it will happen just like that name comes to you instantly when you stop fixating on it. That's how these meditations results will show up for you, when you stop fixating on the result and stop waiting. Why it's not happening? When is it going to happen? Okay. Now, our thoughts, every time we think of anything, we are creating neural pathways in our brain. Okay. Now, if we are thinking of the same thing all the time, we are creating the same neural pathways. Those same neural pathways are what creating our emotions and our feelings, and consequently our experiences, and consequently this becomes, our personality. So if every thought that we create, that we think of, is creating a neural pathway. Isn't it fair to say that if I change the thought, I'm going to create a new neural pathway? It's only logical. So instead of staying in that same neural pathway, which is creating that major programming that we go through our life, because now those pathways, the more we create them and the more we repeat that, just like everything else, the more you repeat it, it becomes a program. So you are now running a program that was initiated by those thoughts, and that was created by those thoughts. And because of the process of repeating those thoughts all the time, over and over again, this becomes a program sitting in your subconscious mind. And now it doesn't even need any trigger for it to run. It is running on autopilot. It becomes something that we naturally have. And this is how it starts showing in our life as our personality. It changes our being to become that person, which is our personality, is that autopilot process. Now, when we start our development journey, our self-development journey, you will start changing your thoughts. And when you change your thoughts, you are creating new pathways for your neurons. You are creating new neural pathways inside of your brain. Now, those neural pathways are creating new connections, and those new connections are creating new reactions. So a new thought equals a new neural pathway, equals a new connection, a new reaction equals a new emotion, something new to us, and a new feeling if we keep on repeating. So if we want to feel joy and happiness, we want to create that thought in our mind that will bring us this, that will create this neural pathway for us to get to that emotion of joy and happiness. And from there, the more we repeat it, it becomes a second nature for us. And that's what I mean by it being autopilot. And the more we repeat it, it will affect our personality in that positive way. Now, why is intention important? Because this is your intention. And your intention is, for example, I want to create a happier life for me, or I want to create joy in my life. I don't know what joy is. I've never lived joy. I want to create that in my life. What are the thoughts that I need that will trigger a neural pathway that will create a connection and a reaction that is related to joy, that feels like joy? I don't know, maybe somebody would feel like, if it makes you happy, let's say, to think of dolphins playing in the water, in the sea, and you are sitting there and watching them and enjoying the view, that thought can be the thought for you to keep on thinking of. And then later on, when you meditate, you visualize it, and it will create those new neural pathways for you to reach the emotion and the feelings of joy and happiness. Does it make sense? So when you start thinking this way, and when you start going through life with intention, instead of being the passive person and letting things happen to you, you are literally creating those new neural pathways inside your brain. And this is how you do, that's the science behind the creation and neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is you creating those new neural pathways in your brain. And that's how you create new experiences for yourself, because the end result of those new neural pathways are new connections and new reactions for you in your life. So that's how you want to think about it. And then what happens is, every new thought that you manage or that you succeed and it's a success when you do it, to get into your mind, you are creating a new neurological or neural pathway in your brain that will help you create new experiences. And in this way, you are no longer creating or predicting your future from your past. You are now, in fact, no longer predicting your future. You are, in fact, creating it by creating those new pathways in your brain, by generating new thoughts. And this is why those of you who are in touch with me and who speak to me, or that we are connected and we speak to each other, I always tell you, remember, be aware of the words that you use and be aware of the thoughts that you think. The more you are aware, the more you know that you want to change those thoughts if your intention is to create a new future for yourself, or to create a future instead of predict it from your past life, from your past experiences. This is why, because we are always predicting our future from our past experiences, that's why we keep on doing the same things over and over again. And if we make mistakes before, we keep on repeating them, because we are creating that future from the past experiences and from our past encounters with life and with people and with emotions and with feelings and with everything that we go through in our life. So that's why in life we keep on going through the same process over and over again, and then we start questioning, why is this happening? Why do I keep on doing the same things? You keep on doing the same things and going through the same processes because you keep on having the same thoughts. So notice yourself. I want you to do this exercise. Notice yourself in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, what are you thinking of? Aren't you thinking of everything that happened to you the day before? And then from those thoughts, you have already triggered all the emotions that are related to those thoughts, and you've already triggered all the feelings and all the experiences and all the memories. And this is how, instead of living in the present moment, you keep on living in the past. So this is a challenge, and I'm not challenging you. I want you to do this as something that will help you, something that will, make you start your day on a good note. Let's say, let's put it this way. Start your day on a good note. And instead of thinking in the past, first try not to think of anything. And if you have to think of anything, think of all the positive things around you. Now, I found it very useful when I started this exercise. I found it very useful. And I know a lot of people out there, they are very grateful and they have like gratitude practices that they do every day. And a lot of people do their gratitude practices at night. I do my gratitude practices when I wake up in the morning, because that helps me think of all the positive things instead of thinking of yesterday and the day before and the day before and repeating that same line of thoughts in my mind. So instead of doing that, I start my day by being grateful and listing the things that I'm grateful for. And these could be very simple things. They don't have to be huge things. They can be the simplest things in the world. Okay? Now, another practice that Joe Dispenza explains and talks about is, every day when you finish your day, you want to ask yourself the question, where did I fall short? Where did I lose my temper, for example? Where did I miss something? Where did I fall back in my old habits? Especially when you are in the journey already and you are starting to develop and starting to change, a lot of times you're going to be falling back in that place. And it happens even to me and to everybody, even to Joe Dispenza himself. If you ask him, don't you get angry? He would tell you, oh my God, of course I do. But the thing is, it's whether you get angry for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. The problem is if this becomes your pattern, that's when it becomes a problem. But if you are aware, that's when you know how to control those emotions, when you have that awareness. I'll give you an example. It happened to me a few days ago. I was on a call with a client in my events business, and and that client was really like very rude, and he had like really very rude comments, and he said things that the old May or the old Maysoon would have jumped and went like completely angry even on the call. I wouldn't have sat there and I was smiling at him. In fact, that was my reaction. And what happened, and why I'm telling you this story, is because I want you to know that how much I have changed when I started doing my work on myself. After the call, the project manager who works with me, he calls me and he's like, Maysoon, I'm actually, how come you did not answer the guy? How come, like, I wanted to jump out of the Zoom and, slap him on the face. That's my project manager was telling me this. And he was like, how did you manage to keep your calm? So I told him, the work that I'm doing on myself is paying off, because the old me would have actually gone crazy and would have actually, silenced him there and then, and I might have even ended the call. But because I have already done a lot of work on myself, and now I know, because I used to sit with myself and ask myself these questions every day. Where did I fall short? Why was this triggering to me? How did it trigger me? How can I do better next time? What is it that I can do better next time? So here's how you want to think about it. Because a lot of people, and now I'm just going with the flow of the ideas that are coming to me from what I'm saying. So a lot of people, when we go through life, many of us are always attentive to what other people say, and we are worried about being judged and what people will say about us, or how people will react to our life or to anything that we do. So we are always worried about people judging us, or we want that validation from people. When you start working on yourself, what will happen is you will limit that feeling of you being worried about how people are judging you, because you start becoming the judge of yourself. Every day you judge everything about you, about how you managed your day, about how you managed yourself during that day, about how you managed your reactions to everything during that day, about how you managed what you said, what you were feeling, your emotions, your feelings, your reactions, your experiences. You become that judge on daily basis. Even now, I still do it now. Like when something triggers me, I don't wait anymore. I used to wait before and do it like at night. Now I don't wait. I do it on the spot. If something triggers me, I ask myself, why is this triggering me? What is it in this thing that is triggering me? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I letting this emotion get hold of me? And then I deal with the emotion there and then. I don't let it linger for it to become a feeling, and for that feeling to become my experience and to become a subconscious program running on autopilot in my subconscious mind, leading my life without me knowing. Does that make sense? So this is how you master your life, by becoming your own judge, by becoming your own lawyer, by becoming your own teacher, So you start questioning, you start asking, and you start finding the answers. The beauty of it when you start working on yourself is, and I always tell everyone who comes to me and everyone I talk to, I always tell them, ask yourself these questions, and believe me, if you are doing it intentionally and calmly. Now, you don't want to do these exercises when you are stressed, okay? Because when you are stressed, this is your fight or flight mode. There is no way for you are in beta brainwaves. There is no way for you to come out with answers. You want to do this when you are really calm and relaxed. You want to ask the questions, and guess what? The answers will come to you because you are in that state of mind. If you are in a stressed state of mind, no answers will come to you. And if any answers come to you at all, they will be the wrong answers. They will be bitter. They will be negative. Remember, if you do this exercise and you are stressed and you start getting, if you do this exercise, you don't know that you're stressed, let's say, and you do this exercise and you start getting negative answers and disturbing answers, you gotta stop, because this is telling you, your body is telling you, and your mind is telling you that you are not in the right condition to do this exercise. Okay, so remember, this exercise is like meditation. It's very similar to meditation. It is a kind of meditation, in fact, when you sit with yourself and ask yourself these questions and you close your eyes and you wait for the answer to come to you. Okay, now going back to our main topic, the first thing that we were talking about now is how you want to set the intention and start creating, by creating those new thoughts in your mind, so that you create new neural pathways in your brain, and that's how neuroplasticity works in connection with creation. Now, how do you want to do this? There are several ways, but the first thing is you want to take action. So the first and foremost is for you to make that decision and take that action. And for you to take that action, here's what you need to do. Number one, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone. A lot of people do not develop and do not go into their self-development journey because they are afraid of getting out of their comfort zone. They're afraid to feel uncomfortable because they are not familiar with that feeling. They prefer their comfort zone, even though their comfort zone is not really that comfortable, by the way, just because it's familiar to them, because they know it. And they are afraid of the unknown. We all are. We all are afraid of the unknown because it is unknown. We don't know. So we develop that fear of the unknown, and instead of us taking calculated risks, which is the second thing that you're going to be doing as an action to move towards creating your future. So you want to get out of your comfort zone. You want to let go of that fear of the unknown, and you want to start creating from intention and taking calculated risks. It's not like you're going to throw yourself out there, right? You're going to be taking calculated risks. And the most important thing, you want to be consistent. So it's not like I do this one day and then I stop for 10 days and then I start again. And it's literally like when someone wants to go on a meal plan or on changing their physique and go on a diet, and they say, okay, I'm gonna stop eating carbs and I'm gonna eat only proteins and I'm gonna eat vegetables and I'm gonna go to the gym, right? Okay, perfect plan, excellent. You do it for one day, you do it for the second day, you get on the scale, nothing is changing. You say, oh my God, nothing is changing. Okay, I'm gonna give up, and you fall back into your old habits. That's exactly how this happens. The same thing happens in your mind. You start creating new thoughts, and that's what I said, don't get fixated. It's very similar to this, because you start creating new thoughts expecting that everything is going to change just like the next day, right? Or things are going to change overnight. But then if you don't see that change, you give up and you fall back in your old habits. So you want to make sure that you stay consistent. When you start, you stay consistent to that process, to that kind of work that you are doing for yourself. Remember, you're not doing this for anyone outside of you. You are doing this for you. You are creating your own future. You're not here to create other people's future. You're not here to create other people's lives or to live other people's lives. You are here on your own journey, and every single one of you have their own journey. So the minute you start doing this and you become consistent, this is called a purposeful action. You have a purpose, you have an intention, and now you are all set to go through that process. It's like you're going on a trip. You don't go onto the airplane and jump out of the airplane in the middle of the way. You want to reach that that destination, right? So you want to stay on the airplane until you reach that destination. Think about it in the simplest ways possible for how you think, for how you feel, for how you believe it will be possible for you to go through the process from A to Z without getting discouraged, without feeling that things are not happening. And this is why I always say, make sure in your life that every single success that you go through, you celebrate it and you feel like you have conquered the world with the simplest development or the simplest step that is going to bring you closer to your result, to the end result that you want to get to. That's step one, right? So step one, get out of your comfort zone, take those calculated risks and repeat. So the repetition is be consistent and have a purpose, have a purposeful action. So you're not doing the action just like that. There is a purpose and there's an intention, remember. So you're setting the intention from the beginning. The second step that you want to do is the visualization step and the meditation. Now, Joe Dispenza calls visualization, actually, he calls it mental rehearsal. Mental rehearsal is literally you rehearsing in your mind that state that you want for yourself in your life. It's literally as if you are thinking about it. How do you memorize something? You keep on reading it, all. It's a rehearsal, right? You rehearse, and you repeat, and then it becomes memorized in your mind, in your brain, right? So this is for him, visualization it is mental rehearsal. So you are seeing it happening again and again in your brain. That is your mental rehearsal. So whatever you want to create for yourself, you want to visualize it and repeat it and keep it there running on. Now, this is good if it's on autopilot. If you are visualizing things and they are running automatically because you are doing that mental rehearsal. The more you do it, at one point in time, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel as if it has already happened to you. Because the more you repeat it, it's like you are living it already. And when you live it already, even if you're not living it in this dimension, even if you're living it in the quantum field, which is usually where we visualize, where we meditate, it's a different dimension. The more you see it, the more you visualize it, you are creating, remember, new neural pathways. And those neural pathways are creating new emotions. And those new emotions are creating new feelings. And they are creating for you new experiences as if they are happening right now. And you are now living that experience. The more you do it, the more it becomes familiar to you, the more it becomes part of your subconscious mind. It's exactly the same process, except now you are doing this process intentionally. And you are doing this process by knowing exactly what the process is, by knowing exactly what you want as an outcome. You're not doing it anymore from your past experiences or through reliving your past thoughts and consequently creating the same experiences for yourself, because that's how it works, right? So now you are visualizing, creating new thoughts and visualizing everything that is connected to these new thoughts that you are creating in your mind with your new neural pathways. Let me know if that is resonating with you and if it's making sense. Now, the more you repeat it and the more you do it, the more it becomes part of your being. So when you start thinking about it in the future, like if somebody comes and tells you, you know, why don't you create something? And you would like, why would I? I've already lived it. I created it already. It's there. It's just going to happen when you are least expecting it. This is, we always say things will happen to you when you least expect them. We say it, but we don't really know how it works. This is how it works. This is how it works. The more you are vigilant and the more you are consistent in that process and you are trusting the process, you start living those experiences before they even happen in this three-dimensional world of ours, which is the space, the time, and the physical, right? So now that you're living those experiences in that field, within subconsciously, you are already there, you are already living them, you feel them already. That's why you don't feel like you need to do anything anymore, because it's already happened. You've already experienced it. And then when it materializes in this world, it doesn't come to you as a shock. You would say, like, yeah, of course, I manifested this. I know. I knew it was coming. And now I'm going to live it. And now you want to create something new, because now you, whatever you created, it's like literally when you start getting results, you want more of those results. So you don't stop. You start doing those exercises over and over again. And this is how you take full control of your life. The story that I shared with you about my personal love life, it's exactly how things are happening right now. You know, so for me, I used to always live my experiences with men in my relationships. I used to always live my experiences from the past experiences. So every time I meet somebody new, in my mind, my thoughts are about my ex. They're not about that person. And they're not even about me. They are about that person that I used to date before. And those thoughts start, you know, living the new experience as if it's my past experience. And this is how I was always in a vicious circle. And I was always meeting the same kind of men because I was having the same kind of thoughts. Now tell me if that does not resonate. I'm sure this resonates with every single person out there, and it doesn't have to be a woman. A man would resonate as well with this thinking, especially, you know, when people get into relationships or get into marriages and they divorce and then they meet new people and they marry again and then they divorce again. Why? Because they are starting that new relationship from the same past experiences and from the same past thoughts, emotions, feelings, programs in their subconscious mind and personality. So the moral of the story here is for us to be able to change our life. We want to change our personality. And for us to be able to change our personality, we want to start by changing our thoughts and creating new thoughts that are not familiar to us, that are not thoughts that are results from previous thoughts that created previous feelings, emotions, feelings, and until we got into completely that specific personality. So for us to be able to change that personality that we already have now in order to create a new life, because if we're creating a new life from the same personality, it's not going to be new, it's going to be the same. Does it make sense? Tell me if it doesn't make sense. I'd like to know. I'm seeing here Evelyn. Thank you for your answers. And yes, of course, it's making a lot of sense, because this is how we create our life. If we are living and creating our life from our past experiences, how is it going to be different in the future? It's going to be the same. It's like looking at ourselves in the mirror. So for us to create our own future, instead of predicting it from our past, we want to create new pathways in our brain. And to create those new pathways, we want to have new thoughts. We want to create new thoughts in our brain. With that, my dear friends, I am coming to the end, and I want to give you that invitation. So my invitation to you is, if all of this resonated with you, and if you feel like you are on this journey, but you are confused, you don't know where to start, you don't know how to start, you don't know what's the next step, and you want some guidance, and if you feel like, you know, Maysoon may be that person who can guide me, she may be that person who can shed the light, you know, on the way that I'm trying to take here, please let me know. All you need to do is send me a message on Messenger and tell me whatever you want to say. Just start a discussion and let me know if you are ready to move into that direction. Every time I have a replay, and when I talk to you, I share with you, and I always, in the emails, I also share with you a link for a call that I call a Champions League call. Okay, so if you feel called to talk to me, to tell me where you are in your life, what is happening, and this is how the call is going to go. We're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about what's happening with you. We're going to talk about where you desire to be. And from there, during the call, we're going to talk about so many things. It's going to be very organic. And sometimes I will have a lot of tips that are coming through depending on what we're discussing. I'm going to share them with you, and they will put you, like, they will be your starting point, if you want, moving forward in that development journey of yours, in that self-development and self-discovery. And then at the end of the call, if I find that we have the right energy, and if I find that I might have a plan that will work for you, I will share it with you, and I will share with you how it looks like to work with me. And then we take it from there. So if you feel like you are called to do this, all that you need to do is, in the emails, the link is always there. I also share it in the posts. And I always share it, obviously, when I have a discussion with any one of you on the Facebook Messenger. So please do not hesitate to let me know. We'll get on that call, we'll have a talk, and then we will see what happens from there. And every week, I am here every Thursday to give you new information, to give you new insight, and also to give you tips that you can start exercising and experiencing right now. Starting, for example, from tomorrow morning, start by starting your day without thinking of yesterday. Challenge yourself and start your day by having just simple, beautiful thoughts. Count your blessings, count everything that is good in your life. Start your day on a positive note without living the same day as the day before. That might be challenging, but if you don't do it now, you won't do it ever. And remember, if I could do any of the things that I'm doing today, so can you. Because they're like, I'm the most ordinary person that you can ever meet. I'm not supernatural. There's nothing like supernatural about me. I'm as ordinary as it can get, right? But I worked on myself, and I was consistent, and I was intentional in my work, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And that's all that it takes for you to start creating your own future and really take hold of that ownership of your life. If you have anything that you would like me to talk about, let me know, send me messages, tell me. I always like to indulge in things that will make you, like things that you would like to learn about. I'll be more than happy to do that. And with that, I'm going to bid you farewell for today, and I will see you again next week. Ciao, ciao.